Testing, testing, testing. Can you guys hear me now? Yeah, my mic, the little microphone volume meter is reacting, so I just want to confirm that you guys can hear my voice now. All right. Good deal, good deal, good deal. Oh, got my Conan sword with me. Welcome back, guys. Glad all of you could make it tonight. Just want to ask how everyone's been. Nikki 4, good to see you, man. Neozoic, good to see you. Tributes to Fiction. I'm really sorry about your situation, dude. I hope that I hope that nothing like that happens again with your videos. That's rough. That's bullshit that you have to deal with that. So, now that we have the audio going, I figure I'll just go ahead and let you guys know what I've been up to. So, I'm currently typing up a script for what's probably shaping up to be a very, very long video. And what it's going to be is a top 20 video. I'm just going to reveal what it's going to be. It's going to be a top 20 adventure films video. Now, the process of me actually typing up the script involves me sort of going back and rewatching all the films that I include in the list, and then typing up sort of little segments about them. I do want to keep all the segments about them under 10 minutes, just so that my workload can be somewhat bearable. It's not really a type of video that I've tried before, so I kind of feel like I should challenge myself, especially with the whole like under 10-minute segment thing. Yeah, I'm hoping I can get the video done this year, but I can't promise anything. But I think you guys are going to like it a lot. Especially some of the choices that I end up going with. Let's see. Anyways, let me catch up with some of the comments. Did I see the Crow reboot? No, I did not. I'm not going to give those filmmakers any of my time or my money, because the original Crow did not need a remake or a reboot. I think the original Crow, even when you look past the fact that, Brandon Lee was tragically killed while filming a scene, it is a great movie. I think it's an excellent, excellent movie. And I think they did the smart thing with waiting to shoot that scene until like near the very end of production. It just sucks what happens, but I think it would have been even more tragic if that happened to Brandon Lee. The movie came out and it sucked, but it didn't. Like, the original Crow's a fucking excellent, excellent movie. I think anyone should watch. I do see this new one as sort of desecrating Brandon Lee's legacy and his grave. Anyways, good luck with the script. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sounds interesting. I don't know much about adventure outside of Indiana Jones, Pirates, and the Zorro movie from 1998. Well, I'm hoping to introduce you and everyone else to some quality cinema. Anyways, what do you think about the upcoming Transformers 1 film? It looks shitty. I'm going to be honest. It looks bad. The idea of like Optimus Prime and Megatron being close friends, it's just no. It looks crappy. Also, the art style and the character designs look kind of ugly to me too. Do you think Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange would get along? I don't exactly know. I don't really know much about Dr. Fate outside of the fact, that his helmet is super powerful, plays a big role in his powers. I know he's like the DC Universe's main like master of mysticism. So I can't rightfully say how Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange would get along. Although I think if a lot of the animated shows I watched are any indication, Dr. Fate seems like a pretty like straightforward, no nonsense type of character, which you take that and compare it with Doctor Strange, who's kind of an easygoing sort of wealthy doctor type guy. He's kind of arrogant and he's kind of sarcastic. Sorry, I just ate, so I'm going to be clearing my throat quite a bit. Might be a bit of a fun dynamic. I heard the Crow reboot film was pretty awful. Someone said that it was worse than Madam Web. I have not seen Madam Web. I heard a lot of people say Madam Web is terrible in like an entertaining way, though. That reminds me, isn't that Kraven the Hunter film supposed to be coming out sometime soon? Or did that get pushed back again? Because I remember that film was supposed to come out like fall of last year, but it got delayed for whatever reason. That movie looks terrible. Have you heard of Thomas Hobbes and John Locke? Yes, I have. Thomas Hobbes was he's the philosopher guy. I think the same's true of John Locke. I also know Thomas Hobbes because the sort of talking imaginary stuffed tiger from the famous comic strip Calvin and Hobbes was named after him. Top 5 favorite DC animated films. I like the Superman and Shazam Return of Black Adam film because I had the Superman and Shazam short film, but it also had like the Green Arrow, the Spectre, and the Jonah Hex short films as well. I like that a lot. Kind of wish DC would have done more of those. But sadly they haven't. Well, they did do one for Catwoman, but I wasn't too crazy about that. What's another great one? Superman versus the Elite is pretty great. Batman Under the Red Hood, of course. That's kind of an obvious one. I thought that Flashpoint, Justice League Flashpoint Paradox movie was pretty damn good. I like that one a lot. What else? Crisis on Two Earths. I like that movie a lot too. I like the conversations between Batman and Owlman. I thought were really cool, really well written. Thought that I thought Owlman in that was a really, really good villain. What else is there? It's about all I can think of off the top of my head. 1610 man. Hey, how's it going, man? Nice to see more people joining the stream. Pardon me. I had a sushi dinner, by the way, before I started the stream. What if the Question lived in Gotham City? I think he would probably clash with Batman a whole lot because I feel like there wouldn't be enough room in Gotham for two crazy detectives. Did you see the Long Halloween with Jensen Ackles? No, I haven't seen the Long Halloween films. I'm not a fan of the art style in those movies at all. It felt like the animation style. I don't know. It's like, dude, Tim Sale's art in the original comic is just pristine. It's so good. Like the artwork in the Long Halloween. Like, I mean, if you look at the Long Halloween, it doesn't look like a comic from the 90s. It looks like it could have been made today. Like, the artwork in that is so crisp. It's so fresh and clean looking. Like the way Tim Sale uses like shadows, the way the texture of everything looks. And the artwork of the comic, like, it's not just a surface level thing. I feel like it plays a big part in the storytelling as well. So the way that the animation looked for the animated films of that, I just was not impressed by. It turned me off big time. I also caught wind of the fact that they made some really dumb changes from the comic as well for the animated films. Do you prefer the novel or the movie of Jurassic Park? Oh man, that's a tough question. I think that I think when you compare the book and the movie together, they're two wholly different genres. Because, like, the movie is a sort of a sci-fi thriller with a bit of an adventure flavor to it. The book is a very grim, very adult-centered sci-fi horror movie. Not movie. Sci-fi horror book. Like, it's straight up sci-fi horror. There's so many moments in the book that would never be allowed in a PG-13 movie. Like, there's some really horrific, fucked up things that happen in the book. Kind of like one of the moments that stands out to me is like the baby who gets eaten alive by the compies, or the fact that Dr. Wu in the book, he gets like split down the middle. I think he gets castrated by a velociraptor's like hook toe. And the way Nedry dies in the book too is also hardcore and brutal. I think the book also is it's almost like an action story too, because one of the big differences is that Muldoon, he dies in the movie, but he survives in the book. Man, Muldoon, he just goes full Rambo on all the dinosaurs. Like, there's the one moment that everybody talks about where he blows up a raptor with a bazooka. That was awesome. So I don't think I prefer one over the other. I think both the book and the movie are great for different reasons. Although I think my preference might lean a little bit towards the book, just a little bit, mainly because I feel like there should be more super adult-centered, R-rated, horror-esque dinosaur fiction out there. I would like to see more of that, personally, beyond just really shitty, like, straight-to-video B-movies. Anyways, do you like the tactical redesigns for superhero genre costumes and live-action adaptations? For some characters, yes. For others, no. I think that I think redesigning someone like Iron Man's costume with that type of aesthetic in mind, I think that makes sense. Probably to a lesser extent, Captain America as well. But for characters like, I don't know, like Shang-Chi or Daredevil or even Spider-Man, no, I don't really like that too much. Hey, Falcon, how's it going, man? Nice to see you join one of my streams. Do you think... Okay, did you think Doctor Doom and Lex Luthor would get along, or would they hate each other? I don't think Doctor Doom really gets along with anyone, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think he would even get along with Lex Luthor, because Doctor Doom's ego... I mean, Lex Luthor's got a hell of an ego, but it's nothing compared to Doctor Doom with some of the stories of his that I've read. Do you think more people would be reading physical books? Would be reading physical books more if social media was not created? Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Without question. I think there's probably thousands or millions of people that spend time just melting and smoothing their brains on TikTok. They could be reading they could be reading anything else. They could be doing anything else. Like, even better would be reading. Animation is good for adapting comic books with different art styles. Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, I just wasn't too crazy about the art style they went with for the Long Halloween movies. Who should have been the villains of Superman 3, 4, and Returns? So, the villains of Superman 3, I think if they had the budget for it, they could have... I think for Superman 3, they definitely could have done Brainiac. I know who would be the perfect actor. I would go with the guy who played... oh, God. What's that actor's name? He was the guy... He was the voice of... he was the voice of Ra's al Ghul in the Batman the Animated Series. And he was also the villain Sark from Tron. Is David something. He's the English guy. I cannot remember his last name. Maybe somebody can help me out with that. I think he would have made a great Brainiac. As far as for Superman 4, I probably have maybe have gone with Metallo or something. Or better yet, maybe have Metallo in Superman 3, you have Brainiac in 4. And Returns, I don't know. I'd be okay with bringing back Luthor, but I would have changed things up. Maybe give him his actual like robotic kryptonite suit. I think that would have made things a bit more interesting. Favorite Lucio Fulci film? Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. um, I don't know if I have a favorite film of his. I do like I like the New York Ripper just because of how ridiculous that film is with the serial killer who talks in the Donald Duck voice. God, dude, it's such a bizarre watching. It's such a bizarre viewing experience seeing all these horrific grisly murders with the killer going. it's it's fucking so hard to take seriously. I like The Beyond. I think The Beyond is really cool. It's got some really gnarly gore in it. The Zombie Flesh Eaters. It's a great one. It's got those super hardcore scenes like the woman having her eye, like just having that wooden splinter going into her eye. I don't know if I have a favorite Lucio Fulci film. Do you have a favorite film interpretation of werewolves? Of werewolves. Oh yeah, there's a bunch. I think American Werewolf in London. That's probably got one of the coolest movie werewolves ever. Dog Soldiers is pretty great. The Monster Squad. I really like the design of the Wolfman in that film. I think if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably go with American Werewolf in London, just because, like, I think that the design for that werewolf is just perfect. Especially all the different, like, stages that you see. Just all the crazy effects that you see in that movie. Let's see. Why didn't Marvel's Iron Man 3 just make Mandarin a Middle Eastern terrorist with advanced tech instead of the fake plot twist? I have no idea. Honestly, I would have preferred that over what they did. Like, if they would have just had a Middle Eastern guy with all those rings, and he called himself the Mandarin because he was like an admirer of like Chinese culture and history and stuff like that. I mean, that would have been fine. They could have made that work. David Warner, yes, that's his name. David Warner. That's the guy who I was thinking of. Thank you, Tributes to Fiction. Thank you. Yeah, I think he would have made a great Brainiac, especially with his voice. Who would win in a fight, Talia al Ghul or Elektra? I would easily give that to Elektra. I think Talia al Ghul would put up a good fight, but I don't know. Elektra's pretty badass. Opinions on Squid Game. I have not actually seen Squid Game because I do not have Netflix. Heard a lot of good things about it, so at some point I may watch it from like a third-party site. I do like me some Korean media, very much so. Whew. Who's your favorite of the Universal Monsters lineup? Now that is a great question. I think my favorite movie of that lineup would definitely have to be The Mummy. The original Mummy with Boris Karloff. As far as my favorite monster, though, I think it would have to be a toss up between The Mummy and The Invisible Man. I like The Invisible Man a lot. Who is your favorite of the original Universal monsters? Oh, wait, I already answered that. Sorry. Favorite film interpretation of vampires? Favorite film interpretation of vampires? I don't know if I have a favorite, but like before, I can list some favorites. I think those mutant vampires from Blade 2 were pretty badass and pretty gnarly. That one vampire from Salem's Lot, the '70s version, the one who looked like Nosferatu. I think that to me, you know what? I think that might be my favorite like movie vampire ever because I love the design of that guy. Kurt Barlow, I think was the name of that character of that vampire. Yeah, yeah. It was Kurt Barlow. Um, Opinion on Ian Fleming? I've not read any of the James Bond books. So I don't really know much about Ian Fleming or his writing style. Ooh. Who would win in a fight, Lady Shiva or Captain America? I don't know. I think it could go either way because Captain America is pretty scary in a fight. I mean, Shiva is too, but I think Captain America is like definitely on a level that I think could probably go up against her. Hey guys, I need to use the restroom. I will be back very soon. So just sit tight. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Will not happen again. All right. Had to get myself another bottle of water too, since been doing a lot of talking. Let's see. Um, DCEU rushed universe and MCU wasted potential universe based on rights issue, with other studios missing key A-list characters and franchises. I don't know. I thought the Marvel Cinematic Universe did pretty well at the start, despite not having all the rights to their characters. I think there was some dumb shit they did. Definitely, like how in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they tried to push the Inhumans as sort of being that universe's version of like the X-Men. I don't know. I feel like maybe that encouraged them to be a bit more creative, maybe. So I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel. Let's see. I saw Dune Part 1. I found it dull. Fair enough. Is the book more engaging? Yes. Yes, without question. Definitely check out the book whenever you can. I would also maybe recommend giving the second movie a chance, since I think a lot of people who found the first movie kind of dull actually like the second movie way more. But yeah, definitely check out the book. The book is fantastic. And if you're like me, I also recommend the audio version that has all the different actors doing the characters' voices. Let's see. How would an MCU version of Captain Britain work? Not cutting the multiverse overloaded stuff, just main canon continuity. I mean, they did Red Guardian in the Black Widow movie, so I feel like they could introduce Captain Britain. They could maybe find a way to make it work, just like although they have to make Red Guardian work as well. I don't know. I don't know much about Captain Britain other than the fact that he's Psylocke's brother. But obviously, I don't think they're going to put Psylocke in the MCU because there would have to be like an established X-Men in there. Let's see. Who's your least favorite of Godzilla? The kaiju, not the movies. I'm not sure I understand that question. Are you asking? Are you asking what my favorite like Godzilla design is? I don't. I don't know. I don't exactly understand that question. Sorry, man. Could you maybe like clarify that just a bit more? Do you think people would take vampire fiction more seriously if Twilight wasn't a thing? I don't think there's ever been an issue of people not taking vampire fiction seriously, even when Twilight was popular. I think, like, most people just unanimously came together and just agreed, yeah, Twilight's really shitty. And, I mean, there's lots of acclaimed, immensely popular vampire literature. I mean, Dracula, there's Carmilla, there's like the Anne Rice books, Interview with the Vampire and stuff like that. I think that I think Twilight's kind of a momentary blemish on like that like the whole vampire genre's entire history, just personally. Because I honestly don't see many people talking about Twilight now, other than to make that one joke. Better love story than Twilight. Any video games you like? Yeah, dude. I play lots of video games. Whenever I'm not doing work on videos or working at my job, and when I'm not like at the gym or anything, yeah, I do lots of gaming. And like that one question that one person asked, yes, I've been playing Black Myth Wukong. I haven't played a whole lot of it, but my opinion on it is that it looks incredible. I'll say that. It's got a really strong atmosphere. One thing about it I'm not too crazy about, though, is that so it's a sequel to Journey to the West, which is the famous Chinese novel, about Sun Wukong and his journey to find like the Buddhist scriptures and stuff like that. And the game does not do anything to like accommodate people who've not read the book. Like it just opens and starts assuming that you've read Journey to the West, assuming that you know why Sun Wukong has like a bone to pick with like the Celestial Court and all that, and who all the characters are. It just assumes all of that. And I can kind of understand that in part because it's a Chinese game. It's primarily made for, the Chinese market, most of whom probably do have intimate familiarity with Journey to the West. But, it's not only being sold in China, you're also selling to Westerners. So, I don't know. Maybe a little short film, like just summarizing all the stuff that happens in Journey to the West. Some type of means of, providing people the proper story context. That would have been nice, I think. I actually bought the first 2 volumes of Journey to the West in preparation for the game coming out. Haven't started reading them yet. But I mean, apart from that, the game's really fun. It's got really challenging, fast-paced combat that I really dig. People saying it's like the Souls games. I feel like the combat's way faster and more involved and in-depth than the Souls games. It's kind of like Devil May Cry or like the old God of War games. Anyways. Does a tactical redesign of Captain America even make sense? He's mostly invincible to harm, already has armored scales. I mean, Captain America usually does government work and stuff like that, so I think it makes sense that sort of the modern day government would give him more of a paramilitary suit to wear. That's kind of the way I justify it. Godzilla himself, both the character and design. Okay. So, probably my most favorite version of Godzilla. I think my favorite Godzilla design is probably the early Millennium series, for sure. So like Godzilla 2000, Godzilla versus Megaguirus. I love that look for Godzilla. As far as favorite like characterization, I think the way Godzilla was portrayed in GMK, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, the way he was just a straight up evil, hateful like spirit. I thought that was really cool. That might be my favorite interpretation. I always like Godzilla when he's like a scary antagonist. What do we have here? Uwe Boll and Michael Bay should make a superhero adaptation based on underground indie superheroes just for a laugh. Okay. God. Yeah, if Uwe Boll ever took a break from running his restaurant to actually to make movies again. Let me see. Anything else I'm missing? Do you think the Batman Who Laughs is an absurd character? Yes. He just. I look at the visual design for him. He looks like a knockoff of Judge Death from the Judge Dredd comics. His power is basically plot armor. Yeah, that's retarded. I don't know anything about him, but if that's his power, then yeah, that's dumb as hell. I think the Joker himself in a lot of stories already has plot armor in abundance. The last thing we need is another Joker-like character with even more plot armor. Get the fuck out of here with that. Who'd win in a fight, Iron Fist or Richard Dragon? I would say Iron Fist. Because I don't recall Richard Dragon ever actually tearing the heart out of a dragon. Fox Studios said George Lucas almost made a Dragon Ball trilogy in the 2000s with Jackie Chan as Goku and Jet Li. I'm not. I'm not sure I believe that. I'm not sure I really believe that because, for one thing, in the 2000s, George Lucas was pretty busy. He was busy making the Star Wars prequels. Then after that, I think he got kind of busy making Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So I find it kind of hard to believe he was involved in like trying to get a Dragon Ball movie series off the ground. Opinion on Injustice Superman. I think the whole concept of Injustice is interesting, but I don't think it was executed very well. I think that a lot of DC stories or like superhero stories in general that tackle the idea of like characters killing. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's ever a whole lot of nuance that's explored with it. Not the amount of nuance I would have liked. Because, like, I think I remember there was a line in Injustice 2 where Superman says to Batman, how many more people, how many more innocent people need to die before you realize some lives need to be taken? I remember seeing that in a trailer and thinking, you know what, that's a really good point. And then I actually played the game, the story mode. Then when it got to that point, Batman just completely ignores the question, and he just like pulls like kryptonite out of his ass and he starts attacking Superman. Thought, dude, anytime that question comes up or anything like it, the writers just avoid it entirely. It's like, Jesus, you think with how supposedly intelligent Batman's supposed to be that he would have a pretty easy answer to a question like that, especially something as obvious that points out such an obvious like contradiction in his no killing philosophy. But I mean, Injustice doesn't really properly explore any of that shit, in my opinion. Uwe Boll runs a restaurant. I'm dying. Serves him right for bullying his critics. I mean, yeah. Yeah. He is kind of a scumbag for doing that. I agree. Which name do you prefer? League of Assassins or League of Shadows? I think League of Shadows sounds better, personally. Has more of a sinister vibe to it. Let's see. Grounded adaptation of Godzilla by Hollywood. Nerdy scientist in action becomes Jock Lizardman versus monsters from government experiments. That sounds like the Toxic Avenger, kind of. I don't know. Like when you said nerdy guy becomes like big monster, big lizard guy. I don't know. For some reason, I thought of the Toxic Avenger. Is Godzilla going to use a mop to fight people with? Favorite and least favorite Kong, both character and design. Hmm. Actually, I think that's an easy question. So, I think probably my favorite in terms of design would definitely have to be the Peter Jackson version. Least favorite, I think that's pretty easy. I'd probably have to go with the version of Kong that we saw in like King Kong Escapes. That was like the 80s sequel to the 70s remake of Kong. And that movie's just atrocious. I do not recommend watching it because there's also a female Kong in that, and her design is just. Ugh. There's a lot of really uncomfortable moments in that movie. I'm just going to leave it at that. Do you think Martian Manhunter and Vision would get along? Yeah, I think they're both fairly. I think they're both pretty friendly, approachable characters. They kind of come from different backgrounds, though. Because Vision has sort of the Pinocchio thing going on, and Martian Manhunter, he's kind of like a fish out of water because he came from Mars, and his people were at war with the White Martians. Do you think Batman Year Zero should get an animated movie? I'm trying to think of what Batman Year Zero is. I don't remember what that story was. I don't remember what that story was all about. Old Wizard magazine articles covered most of the live-action Dragon Ball adaptations. George Lucas was on the table and names were given. Okay. Ang Lee. Actually, I think Ang Lee could have done a pretty good job. Stephen Chow. Is that the same Stephen Chow who directed yeah, Stephen Chow was the guy who made Kung Fu Hustle. I think he could have done a really good job with Dragon Ball actually. Would Deadman have more longevity as a standalone character if he had a rogues gallery consisting of other ghosts? Yeah, probably. I think in terms of the villains that Deadman's gone up against, I'm trying to think. I think, what is it? The Shade? Shade? I don't know very much about Deadman other than the fact that he's a circus acrobat who was murdered in the middle of a stunt. He gets brought back by like a Hindu. I think it was a Hindu god, Ramakrishna. I think. Toxic Avenger reboot looks like crap. I have not seen what it looks like. I think they should leave the original. I think they should leave Toxic Avenger alone. I think it's a one and done thing. There's no way you can't really do a version of that movie today. Not today. Not in this super pussy ass soy sensitive politically correct culture we're in. It's not doable. think the original Toxic Avenger, that was a movie that came out back during a time when people actually had they had some balls, they had some thickness to their skin. They could actually take some jokes. Favorite Martin Scorsese film? Oh man, I think I had a pick for this. I'm trying to. I would probably have to go with not Casino. Was it No. Taxi Driver's really good. Goodfellas is great. King of Comedy is great. Last Temptation of Jesus Christ. I like that movie a lot. I think it's an interesting idea. Favorite Scorsese film. Gangs of New York is really good. Uh, oh, that movie Silence with Liam Neeson and Andrew Garfield, and Adam Driver. That might be my favorite film of his. Actually, thought Silence was a great movie. Definitely got to check that one out. Who's scarier, the Joker or Green Goblin? I would have to say. I would have to say Green Goblin because I don't think Green Goblin is nearly as overexposed as the Joker is. Because I think Green Goblin has a relatively small presence in the Spider-Man comics compared to a lot of his other villains. He doesn't actually pop up that much, but when he does, he makes a lasting impact. I learned that Uwe Boll's restaurant was a pretentious five-star place. Critics are forced to kiss ass with 5 stars or face European-style boxing matches in the basement. Oh my god. Oh, that's funny. I wonder if all the waiters come with their come with like one hand wrapped in a boxing glove already, ready to just punch the shit out of someone who doesn't say nice things about the food. Fun question. Who's your ideal X-Men team? That is a fun question. So, let me think. I would go with Colossus for one. I always loved Colossus. Nightcrawler, Gambit, Psylocke. Who else? Psylocke, Wolverine, and Cyclops. I feel like an X-Men team's not quite complete without either of those guys. Oh, Beast. Iceman, Kitty Pryde. Who else? I always liked Banshee. I thought Banshee was always a really cool character. He's not used very much in the actual X-Men comics. I think that would I think that would definitely be my ideal X-Men team though. Oh, Forge as well. Always thought Forge was a really cool character. Storm. I like Storm's backstory, the whole thing with the Shadow King. Always thought that was a unique sort of aspect to her character. How do you feel about people saying the only good DC character is Batman? I think those people are retarded. think that there's more to DC, obviously, than just Batman. There's Green Arrow, there's Superman, there's Wonder Woman, there's Swamp Thing, there's the Flash, there's Constantine. There's no shortage of great iconic characters in DC. Some ideas for Superman Beyond animated series. Lex Luthor dies alone and company goes bankrupt over his constant jealousy of Superman. That's actually a pretty viable idea. I like that. You think a Batman Beyond game would be woke nonsense if it was made by modern Rocksteady? Very likely, yeah. The Suicide Squad game they made is any indication. You'd probably make it so that Terry's girlfriend became the new Batman. They would probably call her Batman, even though she's a girl. Because, why not? Because gender doesn't mean shit nowadays, right? New Sony Spider-Man universe spinoff. The Uncle Ben Chronicles, a meaningless prequel about Peter Parker's uncle back during World War II and how he got to be so responsible. Nice. I like that. Let's see. Opinions on Alien Romulus. Oh, I'm glad you asked that. That was another thing I was going to talk about. I saw Alien Romulus recently, and it was complete dog shit. I did not like Alien Romulus at all. Which apparently I'm in the minority on that because I see a lot of people who love it. Which, to be fair, if people love it, good on them. I don't. I think that I don't agree with the sentiment that it's the best film in the series since Alien. I think Alien 3, despite its faults, which it has quite a few faults, I think it's a better film. Just full admission, I really like Alien 3. Because, God, dude, there's so many things. I feel like I could just spend another hour talking about all the shitty things that this movie does. Because, there's one thing that stuck out to me about Alien Romulus. So, a character gets a face hugger on them, and then the other characters, what they do is that they freeze the facehugger's tail with liquid nitrogen, and that makes it so that the facehugger actually relinquishes its grip. Huh. So it's that simple? Why didn't the characters in the first movie try that? But what's even worse is that, so they get the facehugger off of her. 10 minutes later, she gets back on their ship, and then she starts convulsing. She starts trembling, and then the thing just bursts out of her chest. And I'm like, so it's the first AVP movie all over again. It does the exact same thing. Because in AVP 1, the first Alien vs. Predator movie, there's the French woman who gets face hugged. She wakes up 10 minutes later, and then she hatches a chest burster. I'm like, that movie, it does the same stupid thing. Because if you've seen the first movie, you know it doesn't happen that quick. When John Hurt, when he got face hugged, it took a full day. It took an entire day for the thing to lay the egg inside of him, for him to then wake up, and then probably like 30 minutes after that, when they're all eating breakfast, then it happens. Then he births the creature. That just stuck out to me so badly. Just absolute dumb decisions. There's so many awful things about it. Especially like all the lines that they rehashed and recycled. Get away from her, you bitch. I prefer the term artificial person myself. What else? Oh yeah, the android villain in that movie, who, by the way, spoiler alert, is basically identical to Ash from the first movie, except he's recreated with really god awful, shitty CGI. You know, he recites the famous "I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies." He reuses that line. They reenact the pulse rifle training scene from Aliens, where Hicks is showing Ripley how the pulse rifle works. I'm like, you're really just so fucking low and petty and pathetic. You can't come up with any memorable characters or moments of your own. You just have to pillage and like filch all these like fan favorite moments from all these other movies. And you even have to take stuff from movies that people don't even like. Because, I mean, like the opening 20th Century Fox logo, it does the same thing that Alien 3 did. Or like that movie had the opening 20th Century Fox logo. And then the musical, the Fox anthem, it starts to like distort, and it turns into like that high-pitched sort of theremin screech to sort of like set the horror like mood. It's like you're so creatively bankrupt, you're stealing even from the movies that most people consider to be shit. God, yeah, I did not like Alien Romulus. That movie sucked. But apparently, it's getting glowing reviews. People love it. It's making a lot of money. So there's probably going to be more. Anyways, I've been overlooking a lot of further comments, so let me address them. How do you feel about the whole Batman is the real identity while Bruce Wayne is the mask? I can see where people are coming from with that. I don't fully agree though, because I've seen lots of stories where Bruce Wayne does kind of try to sort of make himself happy independent of his role of being Batman. So I don't think it's entirely accurate to say that. At the same time though, he's way more devoted and obsessed with his superhero identity than most other superheroes out there, so I can see both sides of that topic. Superman outlives Lois and all his friends at the Daily Planet. He still wants to help people, but is afraid of human attachment. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. I like that idea a lot, actually. I'm not entirely sure if that would be a sufficient amount of drama, though. It could be if you explore it thoroughly, but yeah, that's actually a pretty cool idea. You can kind of make it it's like Superman kind of crossed with Highlander a bit. Alien Romulus equals nostalgia bait trash. Fully agreed. Is it worse than Prometheus and Covenant? Oh. I would say I would say yes, it is worse. But not by a wide margin though, because Prometheus and Covenant, well, Prometheus had some good stuff. Covenant was just a one Covenant was just a complete turd from start to finish. But I do think Prometheus and Covenant they kind of try to create their own legacies. They just fail at it horrifically. This movie is just it's just derivative and lazy and hollow. Alien prequels equals continuity errors all over the place. 100% agree. I've got to head out. Good to see you're still doing well. Thank you, Falcon. I appreciate that, man. I hope you're doing well as well. I never liked that Newt and Hicks died in Alien 3. Should have cut them from the film with a BS excuse that they were rescued. Yeah, I can kind of see. I can kind of see where that. I understand people who take issue with Hicks and Newt being killed in Alien 3. I do. But it never bothered me that much, personally. I think the movie I think the movie did a decent job of making their deaths sort of have a significant weight. I do think I do think it's something that definitely affects Ripley throughout the rest of Alien 3 as well. But yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from with that. I'm not about to say you're wrong for feeling that way. Alien franchise needs a complete reboot. They've been controversial slash bad since Alien 3 and onwards. There was going to be a reboot that was helmed by Neil Blomkamp, the District 9 director, but that got canceled. I think it got canceled in favor of whatever retardation Ridley Scott had planned. And obviously, I think Ridley Scott had the seniority over Blomkamp as far as that franchise was concerned. I think Blomkamp's film was going to be a direct sequel to Aliens. It was going to be Ripley and Hicks coming back. I would have liked to have seen what that film would have been like. Knowing Neil Blomkamp, I think the world would have had a really cool sort of aesthetic to it. But we'll never know. That's kind of why I tend to. I think that the Alien movies, I think the original three are good enough. But I think they should just stop with the movies and maybe continue with like extra media like video games, comics, like radio dramas and stuff like that. Because I feel like those are sort of. I feel like mediums like that, they can sort of explore like bigger scale, more unique stories without having to worry about kind of a sizable enough budget. Because that's kind of a big hindrance with the Alien movies, is that they were never blockbusters. They were never Star Wars or like they were never Star Wars or Star Trek or anything like that. They never had a lot of money put into them. I think the reason why the original two movies kind of look so visually incredible is because they had filmmakers working on them that could do a lot with a limited budget. Let's be frank here. Anyways. Let's see. Opinions on the Super Mario Brothers movie. Oh, the recent one. I've not actually seen that one. I've heard people say it's good, but I don't really know for sure myself. I like the visual aesthetic of it. Definitely. It looks like it's a very faithful recreation of the game. Superman Beyond's Blight would be a young, naive, jaded, and cynical person, and this would clash with Clark's wisdom and experience. No motivation or power is established yet. That's a great idea. I like that a lot. I like the idea that sort of a younger person could actually become very cynical and jaded and nihilistic. Opinions on the 2000 Japanese film Battle Royale. I like it a lot. I'm in the same boat as Quentin Tarantino. I think that movie's great. The guy who directed it, Kinji Fukusaku. Apparently, that guy's a big deal in Japan. He's directed a lot of very high profile, like critically acclaimed classic films. I need to check out more of them. How dangerous would Doomsday be if he was in the Marvel Universe? Pretty fucking dangerous, I would say. Although, I don't know how he would fare against Thanos with the fully loaded out Infinity Gauntlet. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he would fare well because whatever Thanos could think of to do to Doomsday, Doomsday would just adapt to it because that's his whole thing. That's what Doomsday does. He just adapts to every possible horrific, life-destroying sort of method that you can think of. So yeah, that would be a pretty terrifying notion for the Marvel characters to reckon with. Things I like with the Alien franchise. First two films, the sequel comics, everything else, not my thing. What about Alien Isolation? Did you ever play that game? I thought Alien Isolation was great. Love that game. Especially love the the first two PC Alien versus Predator games. I think those are great. Let's see. Hollywood's American Battle Royale remake is still in development hell. Jeez. Yeah, I feel like if that came out today, people would just say it's a ripoff of Hunger Games. So it's maybe it might be best just to kill it, just to abort it. I recall that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Even Darkseid was afraid of. Yes, actually, I believe that is correct. This might be fanboyish, but I would bring the cape back for Superman because a capeless Superman doesn't feel right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Superman would sentimentally hold on to the cape as well because the cape was what he was wrapped in when he was launched in the when he was stored in the rocket that left Krypton. If I remember the Superman lore correctly. Yeah, dude, Alien Isolation is great. Strongly recommend it. I feel like it's a great companion piece to the very first film, without a doubt. But, ooh, yeah, it's almost been an hour and 20 minutes. I think I'm going to wrap things up in a couple minutes, guys, because we've been going a We've been going a pretty good length of time. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. Hope you've enjoyed learning about what I'm currently working on. I will definitely, I will keep posting updates as I'm progressing through it. I don't want to, because I feel like the way I've been doing it, I've been posting community updates probably like every 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to see if I can try to do it a bit more frequently than that. But, like I said before, it's going to involve a lot of movie watching and a lot of writing before I even get to the editing. So, there's no telling when it'll be done. But I'll answer a couple more questions and then I'm gonna cut the stream off. So, do you think Zatanna and Scarlet Witch would get along? From what I remember, Zatanna's pretty friendly and easygoing. So I don't see what they would ever quarrel about. New comic reviews of your favorite story arcs? Are you asking if I might do comic reviews? I might. I wouldn't count that out. I might, at some point in the future, I might do a video about my love for like Heavy Metal magazine as well. Not just stuff with, not just like mainstream Marvel DC stuff. Because the heavy metal, like European comics, like bande dessinée, all that kind of stuff, I've been getting super hard into that. But yeah, I might very well do comic reviews. I would want them to be sort of in a similar fashion to my current movie reviews, which I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve that, but we'll definitely see. Opinions on Ghostbusters Afterlife. Ghostbusters Afterlife was okay. Didn't like the fact that they reused Gozer. I do like that they kind of respectfully. They did kind of show a bit of respect to Harold Ramis. Dedicating sort of a portion of the film to him. I appreciated that. I don't think they need to make any more Ghostbusters films after that. I haven't seen Frozen Empire. People have been saying that. Like new movie's kind of shitty, so I'm not really compelled to watch it, to be completely honest. Heavy Metal and Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd is from 2000 AD, not Heavy Metal. I mean, the Judge Dredd comics are really awesome too. I need to read more 2000 AD stuff. I hear a lot of people say there's a lot of crazy stuff I hear about 2000 AD stories. Deadpool and Wolverine's success. More R-rated superhero franchises. One can hope. Or maybe just more enjoyable superhero films that aren't boring and overly complicated. Yeah. Nostalgia bait nonsense. Yeah, there's a lot of franchises I wish they would just take out to pasture and just fucking end already. Favorite fan films. Actually, there's a couple fan films I really like. There's a Predator fan film that takes place in the Crusades. It's set during the Crusades. There's like all the characters are like medieval knights. There's one Saracen who's actually encountered the Predator before. Thought it was actually pretty damn good. I like that fan film a lot.
Had a lot of really good like suspenseful moments. That was really cool. That Sleeping Dogs fan film, I think was fantastic. I wish there was more stuff with that.
So those are really good fan films that I recommend.
All right, 9:24. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. But thank you all for joining and hanging out with me and asking your questions and interacting. Tributes. I hope your the situation with your videos improves. I hope that guy that did that to you gets what's coming to him. Good night. Take care. Good night. Peace out. Stay safe. Yep, likewise. I'll definitely be staying in contact with you guys, but for now, I'm going to just relax for the rest of my night. So, all of you take care. Sayonara.